Good morning. Continuing reading my 2016 article in Action Criticism and Theory for Music Education, Music Educated and Uprooted, My Story of Rurality, Whiteness, Musicking, and Teaching. Today I'm wearing my school's mini-thon t-shirt. We're up to page 43, Music Styles, Rejecting Popular Musicking. On a Sunday afternoon, passing time in the dorm, Jardine asked me if I wanted to come to the building where his latest band would be rehearsing. They had a drummer. I had told Jardine earlier that I needed to focus on learning classical percussion here at university. I learned quite a bit of music in high school, but none of the repertoire could be easily categorized as classical. Most of the music my band director chose was popular or cross-genre. It was true that I needed to spend quite a bit of time practicing marimba, though snare drum and timpani were much easier for me, which I had only begun playing my senior year of high school, and I wanted to improve as a marimbist, even though I knew of no out-of-school uses for the music I was learning. And mallet music and orchestra and concert band was already much easier than the repertoire I practiced for studio lessons. Prior to university, Jardine and I formed a rock duo. Before Nirvana hit the radios, when we were in 11th grade, we played Elvis Costello, the Beatles, and Led Zeppelin, with much reduced instrumentation. Jardine played guitar and sang, I played drums and sang background vocals. Most of the music we performed was co-composed like Lennon and McCartney, though only our high school minds could have imagined our songs were as good. These were some of my most meaningful musical experiences. I honed my ability to improvise, to think about musical forms, and to listen for areas of improvement. Looking back, these out-of-school musicking experiences are where I first began to build the skills that I would later use to teach music. And yet, I felt the demands of school music, unlike the music I grew up listening to and learned to perform informally, demanding my time in the practice room. It was the music performed by my professors, and therefore, of the music educated. If I wanted to move up in society, I felt I needed to give up my music and adopt classical music as my own. Maybe another time, I told Jardine. Then I walked down the hill to the music building, its practice room, where I would perform far from natural, institutionalized music. Bates suggests there is a hierarchy of musical engagements: school over outside of school, formal over informal, presentational over participatory, highbrow over lowbrow, as it is perpetuated in school music. I feel this hierarchy was also present in my school music experiences, which played a role in my decision to reject popular musicking and to value school music. Illich traced a history of the human object of modern education, quote, the social construction of homo educandus, end quote. For Illich, this historical development is typified by education as a process of personal enrichment with values that are assumed to be scarce. And as a basic human need, the problem arises with the institutionally constructed homo educandus. Quote, the new man is a being who ought to be taught whatever he should know or do, end quote. For homo educandus, learning is a prerequisite for all human activities. So we'll stop right there on page 44 with that section. Countless times have I seen and met many friends, brilliant musicians, who have succeeded in their own countries with great classical music skills come over here to the university and be told that they actually want them to represent their culture, right? It's often some tokenized version of their culture. If they fuse traditional elements with classical music, that's not even good enough for the universities because they want it to be pure, right? As if they came from a rural tribe rather than an urban center with the same values as urban centers around the world. And so they do, and they work. And they work to become what are called culture bearers. But the universities are looking for a dead version of those cultures as well. Not enlivened, right? Not a response to nature, not a response to the seasons, not connected to the religious rituals, not with any of the beliefs connected, any of the beliefs that are hard, right? If there's a hard belief in any religion, they want it taken out and made, I don't know what's the word, whitewashed, turned into oatmeal, because religions have deep, millennia old stories and experiences and rituals and traditions that speak deep to our soul. And they want those deep aspects removed so that we can have a culture bearer sharing their music to our students. And I also see countless elementary videos of elementary kids in Africa and East Asia and South America learning classical music. And there's no problem with this, right? But what the universities here, one of them, is to know that which they're not being educated in, which is their musics, right? But the new being, as Illich says, is one who ought to be taught whatever he should know or do. And they've accepted this, right? Just as we've accepted this. Really is a rough thing, right? Really is a rough thing. And so I gave up a lot of playing, right? I was playing punk music up till undergrad. I gave up playing the drum set, not completely, right? Taught myself to play jazz, which was fun. I played in jazz groups in Pittsburgh for 11 years, early in my career, right? But I gave up playing the music that I had listened to at the time, right? That musical culture that we had made our own, right? Beats' hierarchy of musical engagement, school over outside of school. It doesn't matter that there's just, there's 70,000 timpanists who can play the parts in every single orchestra in the country, and only a few of the jobs that pay enough to make a middle-class salary. That doesn't matter because it's what's taught at the universities. You're supposed to give up drum set for timpani, right? You're supposed to work in the marimba, despite the fact that you're going to hit more xylophone parts in a orchestra. You might play vibes in some more popular genres, and definitely in jazz, right? But marimba is like invented, it's in its current iteration, right? Invented about 100 years ago. Turned into an instrument shaped like a piano, right? With all those notes. 100 years ago, that's it. But that's what you have to learn. So we give out what we learn, and we teach ourselves outside of schools for what we can learn in our schools. So how do we push against that as music teachers? Know that if you have music outside of school, it's valued. Even if it's not valued by your teachers, it's valuable. Keep it, sustain it, hold that culture. Have a great day.